The craziest science projects in the world. Even in ancient times, people dreamed of flying to the stars. The Egyptians built the pyramids focusing on the position of the heavenly bodies, and the Greeks told myths about visits from the inhabitants of the moon. Now that man has traveled to outer space and stepped his foot on the surface of the moon, the thirst for knowing the mysteries of the universe have reached unprecedented proportions. The latest technologies and scientific achievements often push scientists to various undertakings, including completely insane and threatening disasters, and sometimes leading directly to them. The Project Biosphere 2 from 1991 to 1994 in the Arizona desert. This experiment was organized by American billionaire Edward Bass and Space Biosphere Ventures. They hoped to find out whether a person could survive in a closed environment without communication with the outside world, and whether it was possible to create an autonomous settlement of astronauts to conquer other planets in the future. A group of scientists decided to create a closed and autonomous biosystem under hermetic domes and live in it for 2 years. Glass modules included almost everything necessary for life: a jungle, savannah, swamp, and even a small ocean with a beach. Over 3,000 plant species were planted. Also inside were launched about 5,000 various representatives of fauna, including goats, horses, pigs, chickens, etc. Scientists were sure that they had all the necessary knowledge to model a closed ecosystem, but it turned out that not everything was so simple. In total, 8 people took part, among whom there were 4 women and 4 men, while communication with the outside world was carried out exclusively using a computer. After just a couple of weeks, an accident happened with one of the participants. She cut off her finger while working on agricultural equipment. As a result, she had to leave the experiment ahead of schedule. Soon, regular conflicts began among the participants, and in general, they were divided into 2 warring camps. But psychological difficulties, although they played an important role, still did not become the biggest problem. In the second half of the first stage, the oxygen level fell by about 0.5% per month, which led to oxygen starvation and a sharp loss of weight by the participants. The reason for the insufficient amount of oxygen produced was unexpectedly rapid multiplication of microorganisms and insects, which not only consumed oxygen themselves but also actively destroyed plants. Contrary to the original plans, oxygen began to be supplied from outside in a sufficiently large amount. The detected problems were as follows: a huge number of germs and insects, especially cockroaches and ants, bred in the laboratory. Under the glass roof of the complex, water condensed in the mornings and artificial rain poured, which immediately disrupted the desert ecosystem. The creators did not foresee such a phenomenon as wind. It turned out that without regular swaying, the trees become fragile and break. And the property of concrete to absorb and release carbon dioxide and oxygen was not taken into account. And this also played a significant role in disrupting the gas composition inside the dome. The Zenith Telescope. The authorities of the U.S. state of Hawaii have allowed beginning work on the construction of a giant 30-meter telescope on top of the sacred, for local residents, sleeping volcano Mauna Kea, worth $1.4 billion. A telescope at an altitude of 4,050 meters above sea level was installed with the participation of the USA, China, Japan, Canada, and India. It is a mirror system with a total area of 655 square meters, collected from 492 segments of 1.4 meters each. This is one of the 3 largest ground-based telescopes in the world. This astronomical instrument will make it possible to conduct observations both in the optical and in the infrared range, collecting 9 times more light information than the largest of modern telescopes. This data will be the basis for constructing cosmological models. It will allow us to study the development of galaxies and the entire universe on the largest of scales. Scientists note that this will give them unprecedented opportunities for studying space objects. The Gigantic Nif Laser. Physicists from Livermore National Laboratory in California since 1997 have been preparing an installation for launching a controlled thermonuclear reaction using lasers. The National Ignition Facility building, the size of 3 football pitches, is a tunnel structure in which 192 of the most powerful lasers will be focused on a tiny capsule with a diameter of 2 millimeters with deuterium and tritium. If the calculations of scientists are correct, then when the lasers are turned on at full power, the temperature will exceed 10 to the 8th power Kelvin, which will lead to the appearance of a hot plasma, and after a few moments, depending on the plasma density and the time the temperature was held, the fusion reaction of deuterium and tritium nuclei will form into helium nuclei, similar to what happens inside the sun. Physicists say that laser technology needs to be improved for at least another 20 years so that they can support the operation of a fusion reactor. The Large Hadron Collider. The European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, is engaged in high-energy physics. The Large Hadron Collider, built by this organization, became, in its time, the horror story of the year. Many believed that it would be the cause of the death of the entire planet. The Large Hadron Collider is the largest experimental facility in the world. Scientists from all over the world are trying to find out how the universe was formed. Overall, experiments in the collider involve more than 3,000 scientists from more than 100 countries. And finally, the EarthScope project. EarthScope is an Earth science program using geological and geophysical techniques to explore the structure and evolution of the North American continent and to understand the processes controlling earthquakes and volcanoes. In the future, EarthScope will allow researchers to control the amplitude of the Earth's movements. This is indeed a very interesting experiment and a subject of pride for American seismologists. It is like a computer tomograph in medicine, only for the Earth. With its advent, the diagnosis of diseases have reached a qualitatively new level, and here our understanding of the processes occurring in the inner shells of the Earth, the identification of anomalous zones, will become an order of magnitude higher, which means that it can significantly improve the quality and accuracy of the forecast of dangerous phenomena. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and learned something new, please share with us in the comments section down below. Also, please share with your friends and family. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.